Well, here it is, July 3rd. Another video in this series for today. It is, oh my God, it's 9:11 in the morning. Just the number itself, 9/11, brings back horrible memories. But this is July 3rd, it's the day before July 4th, our American holiday. This video is going to be a little out of context regarding how it was done, just to forewarn. Because in an earlier video, I'm exploring a darker, deeper mystery of the United States history being revealed to the public. And it was not known until maybe a few months back when the book came out from a surgeon, a medical doctor who is a history buff. He discovers more darker histories upon his investigations that has deeply disturbed me, and it changes perspective of what I look at the country previously and how I look at the country right now. Because my own thoughts and viewpoints are disturbed enough as it is. I'm sorry to say, but all my preconceptions concerning about history and what I felt about history and what I felt about my own country, information I should have known and I wasn't even aware of it. No, it just went over the head over here, especially when I was learning about the concepts left and right. It just should have stayed in me. It should have stayed in me, and the revelation should not have bugged the hell out of me, but it did. And that's the thing I'm trying to understand and explore at this point over here, because basically it's pissing me off. I mean, seriously, it's pissing me off at this point over here. I mean, what? I understand in the history courses that we had slaveries going on. We had a lot of atrocities happening. But for one that's being uncovered at this point over here, and this is the reason why I ordered the damn book in the first place, because I got to find out what the hell's going on. I always covered a lot of things in history classes at this point over here, but 16 weeks just does not cover enough. And when you're a college student, you have to do a hell of a lot more research at this point over here, a lot more than what the history professors can provide. Professors want to know if you're able to do a lot of research beyond the scope of their own, beyond the scope of what's being taught to you, the student. And from what I hear, when I see different viewpoints of how our history has started, it's like wearing the rose-colored glasses and somebody taking them off and stomping the living crap out of them. And what do you get is a kaleidoscope out of it. That you're seeing many facets that you weren't aware of and you're totally blind to. And it should not have been. I had seen on cable, there was a history, I think in the History Channel itself, and I was incorrect on the other video. I think it was History Channel doing a series on the very important people we had in our Revolutionary War. One of them was doing a series on Washington, our first president, our first commanding general of the armies, of the Continental Army, of how his upbringing was on a plantation, how he was born into the culture of slavery, how it actually didn't bother him at the time because his family came over from England and they were slave owners and they were growing crop. And Washington had other ideas on how to increase production, productivity, and he had a personal bodyguard, and actually a personal slave. According to history, he was supposed to be treating him very well. And he stayed. He didn't go into combat. He didn't go into battle with Washington. But as civilians, he stayed with him. And it was very disturbing to hear about that. What was even more disturbing is the conditions and treatments of the slaves in different plantations with different owners, including those that we held in nobility and on high. We have put them so high on pedestals that we didn't realize that the pedestals were being supplied with blood and mortar. The bodies and blood of slaves. The embodiment of our heroes. No wonder that our statues, our monuments, our understanding of our country now, of our past, is really catching up to haunt the living crap out of us. And how we deal with that and how we understand that is it's going to be up to us individually. These two I am going to post. I said before in the other book, I'm waiting for, as I said before in the other video actually, I'm waiting for that book to come out so I can do a bit of a review and then I'll get back. Because I want to know how much that I don't know. And there's a hell of a lot of facets and a lot of avenues concerning about the Revolutionary War that I never knew of. And some of those are very dark and disturbing. They're dark and disturbing because we had a lot of fears and stigmas and things attached to it that we didn't want to deal with. A lot of ugly truths. They make us feel ugly inside because now we feel the weight and the truth of the past haunting us. We didn't hear them. We didn't hear the ghosts behind us trying to tell us that we had more to say. Dig up our bones. Dig up our history. We have more to say than what you know of. And yeah, I am disturbed about this. Because living in the cushy life of what we knew, and that's all we knew. But when reality comes knocking on your doorstep, saying, here, I got you a different pair of glasses. You need to look at history through a different point of view. And there are going to be some out there who are going to be arguing that we have evidence of white power going on. And yes, I opened up the Pandora's box on this one. That we always have been the white power, and that blacks will always be underneath us because we are Americans and they are not. The working class has no say, regardless. But the working class was also the slaves, and they have no say. The elites are Americans, and nobody else. Different ways of looking at the Revolutionary War. We're trying to look at the viewpoint of we going against England because we didn't like England's mistreatment over us, and yet we were doing the same damn shit to our own and what we had considered back then property. Me watching shows like Hamilton, it just discolors it. Me watching shows regarding Washington discolors it. My whole viewpoint right now is discolored. Or maybe the mud has been finally washed away from my eyes. Maybe I'm finally seeing what should have been seeing a long time ago. And it is disturbing. It is very disturbing. I don't know how else to say. I don't know what else to say. At this point, am I celebrating freedom? Am I celebrating liberty? Am I celebrating the propagation of slavery? Am I celebrating that slavery was wonderful? That I should now look at upon my fellow mankind in the most elitist form? Because now I can't even celebrate the red, white, and blue properly at this point over here. Because of every damn stitch every flag has made. There is blood, there is mortar, and there is the blood of slavery mixed in with it. Mixed in with the red. We think the red represents our blood. It also bleeds everything else into it. White, I don't know what the hell it stands for, neither does the blue. The stars are supposed to be for the states. They're supposed to be representative. There's supposed to be definitions for each color for our flag. Each has a deeper meaning. And the only thing I can look at right now in the flag is red. How much blood it took to continue our country. I also made references in a few videos ago concerning about how imperfect our country is. I have to look at the deeper supporters of the pyramid to see just how many had died underneath it to support the pyramid. Because now it hits home. We're supposed to be celebrating life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We're supposed to be celebrating our freedoms. Are we? Are we free? Do we understand more and more about our country? I am reminded history is always revised. But then again, there's not one viewpoint of it. There are many stories about our past. There are many journeys and travels we have to go through. There are many dark and ugly secrets along the way. And we have to reveal them, we have to make them known. We have to be unsettled on the inside because our truths have been shattered. What we know to be fact could be fiction. It was fact regarding the colonists' displeasure about England. It was fact that we had a bloody war. It was fact that we wrote a constitution. It was fact that prior to that we had a Declaration of Independence. We celebrate the Declaration of Independence. But did it mean everybody? Including those that supported the elite. Including those that sacrificed their blood and their bodies as mortar for the pyramid to be built. And that's what disturbs me the most. It is those ghosts that I owe a lot to. It is those ghosts I am humbled by. I am humiliated. I'm not grateful. I'm embarrassed and I'm ashamed. Maybe somewhere in there they also had the dream of America, or what they wanted for America. Or maybe they just wanted their freedom and go home. That they didn't consider America their home. Just another place to be invaded and just another place to work. But over time, a lot of people have, different races, different cultures have to come together to understand what the country actually means for them. Understanding this darker history, that makes the challenge of understanding the incomplete pyramid more and more imperative. Despite the fact that the base had been mortared with the blood of all those who sacrificed for it, including those who have been slaves of all sorts. We have to remember the base because it helped support our pyramid, our country. All those that bled and died in wars and in servitude, both voluntary and involuntary. Every one of us is blood and mortar, including the slave plantations, including the slave owners. Everything was building the pyramid, every resource, unfortunately including human labor of all sorts. And that is the hardest thing to understand about why our democracy has to work, why our country has to work, why we have to celebrate what we have right now, and why we have to continue to extend that to everybody, regardless of skin color, race, creed, religion. It has to mean something to each and all of us. We have to dig deep inside of us to understand the deeper meaning of this country, of what the ideals that we still hold true to, of the faith that was given to us, even by those who have bled and put their bodies as mortar in order for our base to be built up. Even those who have sacrificed in wars and in service. We have to honor those. We have to honor them. We have to honor them by our commitment to our country today, to the country tomorrow, and not be embarrassed or be ashamed of learning every dark secret that had started our country. Because then we can say the more we know, the more we can grow. We will not celebrate in glee of what has happened in the past. It is memorial. It is remorse. It is conviction. We'll look forward to the future, that hopefully the pyramid will never be built and never be finished, that the sides will never be complete, that we must do this for ourselves, our posterity, for our future generations. We have to discover and keep rediscovering our country, our meanings and our values, everything that we hold dear. We have to go on we have to go on journeys of our own. Self-exploration, the search of knowledge and truth. No matter where it leads to us. No matter where it leads us to. We have to. This is our heritage. This is our legacy. Our future depends upon it. Because we have to build a better future. We have to. Because the ghost in the past, the mortar, the brick, the blood, is calling out that we have to do this to honor them. To honor them. To honor ourselves and our country. And to honor our future generations. For me, this is America. This is what it means to be patriotic. This is what it means to worship July 4th today. Today.